We just had a customer that came in and brought a GTX 1080 video card. And he brought this in not so that we can fix it, but he brought it in so that we can replace the power connector. His power connector is good, but he want to replace it from being vertical to being horizontal. He brought us this power connector here, and this one sits on the board, and he can connect the cable like this horizontally instead of vertically. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna desolder the connector. Customer said he attempted to desolder it, but he applied a lot of heat and the connector would not come off. I told him that this is a thick board and the board absorbs a lot of heat, so it's difficult to remove the connector. And of course we cannot do it from the top. We cannot heat from the top. We're gonna have to do it from the bottom. The way we're gonna do it is using low melt solder. So we're gonna remove this connector and we're gonna solder this one here. Let's take a look under the microscope. That's how the connector looks like. So we're gonna remove this one and we're gonna put this one. I do see a possibly bad cap here, or the cap may be good, but it doesn't look good. But we told the customer that all we will be doing is replacing the connector. We did not verify the functionality of the video card, and we told him that we are taking this as is, because the customer may be giving you a card that has issues, and then after you replace the connector, he may tell you that the card was working before. Or he may tell you that I did not have this issue before, the card was not freezing before, the card was, whatever the case may be. Anytime somebody brings something in, they must sign our terms that we are taking the device as is. And we are taking this board as is. All we are doing is replacing the connector, and that's our job. I don't even need to test this card. All we are doing is replacing the connector. If a customer is filling out the mailing form and they are mailing a device, our terms are clear. It states that there is a risk involved when working with any device. Maybe that device is working now, but there's something waiting to happen. As soon as we open the device and work on it, maybe it fails. Just like if you are working on an older laptop that is known to have GPU issues. Maybe that laptop is working now. Customer sends it over here. We fix a no power issue and suddenly there's a GPU problem. There's a GPU problem not because we did something wrong, but because it was a problem waiting to happen, and it just happened that this problem occurred when that laptop was in our shop. So anytime anybody sends a device over or a customer comes in, they must sign that form that there are risks involved when working with any device. So the customer was made aware of the terms, and that's why we took this video card in. I told the customer all we are doing is replacing this connector and nothing else. We did not verify the functionality of this board. So the customer is clear on the terms. Just like if you go to a hospital, you have surgery, they make you sign papers, they make you sign a waiver that if something were to happen to you, we are not responsible, and there are always risks involved when doing surgery. Same thing with any electronics device. Let's go ahead and apply low melt solder so we can desolder the connector. I mean, every time we have to modify our terms because people always try to find loopholes on how to break the system. Some people want things done for free. They're bringing you a device that is working but has issues. Maybe it reboots every 5 minutes. We cannot tell when we test the device in front of the customer. We cannot test the device for 5 minutes and know that that device is going to reboot after 5 minutes. So some customers, they bring over devices like that and they tell you that that device was working fine. It was not doing that before. So to avoid all those problems, customer must sign our terms and they must agree to the risks involved when working with any device. That was not in our terms a long time, but we learned. Like we had that lady that came in and she wanted to change the screen on her iPhone X. So I was taking her information. I happened to be outside. I was taking her information and I took the phone in and I gave it to Big Boss to start working on it because she wanted to pick up in 30 minutes and I was still taking her information. And Big Boss came back to me and said the phone is not turning on. We did not open it yet, but the phone is dead on arrival. So within 30 seconds, I gave it back to her. I told her the phone is not powering on. She said, no, it was good. I told her we did not open it yet. I just gave it to him 20 seconds ago. The phone is not turning on. And she said, okay, so it's not working? I said, no. She said, okay, then we're not going to change the screen on it. She knew that the phone was not working, but she thought when we open it and attempt to replace the screen, we're not aware that that phone was not powering on before. Then she can tell you that that phone was working before and I want you to pay me for another phone. Some people play tricks like that, but you learn as you go on in business. So right now, even if I do not test that device in front of the customer, our terms are clear. Maybe that device was good when it came in and now it's not good. It's part of the risk and customers must agree to that risk. That way we avoid trouble and we avoid problems. Even if the customer blames you for the fault, too bad, it's part of the terms. We are here to fix devices for customers and not to make things worse. But things can happen sometimes that's beyond our control. And you have to know that there are a lot of bad people out there. A lot of people that want to take advantage. And we just cut things short by having everything in our terms. We're going to start by applying low melt solder. But of course we have to turn our soldering station on. And a lot of people still ask, which low melt solder are you using? What flux are you using? Those can be purchased off our website. We are one of the major suppliers for Amtech Flux. And the same goes for low melt solder. Get rid of the glare and let's continue. So what we are doing now is we are mixing unleaded with low melt solder. Now the customer asked if we can solder that connector here because I do see 8 pads here and nothing connects to those 8 pads. I'm honestly not sure if we can use this instead of this. I told him it's better if we just keep it here. Okay, so we have low melt on all pins. Now what we can do is we can apply a little bit of hot air on the back here and we should be able to easily pull that connector off. So we're gonna apply hot air and you should notice that those pads are gonna liquefy quick because of low melt solder. And guess what? Look at this. Done. I mean, try to apply heat onto that board without using low melt solder and it's gonna take you forever to remove that connector. And you're gonna saturate the board with unnecessary heat and possibly damage other things on the board. So low melt solder is always a lifesaver. And now we're gonna use our premium wick to desolder the holes. All that stuff, low melt solder, Amtech Flux, the premium braid, the brush, tweezers, all the stuff that I use can be purchased from our website. We have over 50 new items coming in this week. I'll talk about them when they arrive. The video card is bouncing up and down because of the heatsink and it's bothering me. I'm not able to wick properly. So let me see if I can make it stable by having something under that card. What can I have under the card? I have the blue tack, which should be good. Okay. Now let's continue wicking off those holes. I mean, look at that braid. Look at that braid. All right, we did it. Now we're gonna put the connector in. Okay, I think the pins are not aligned on this connector. The connector is not going in. Look at this. I think this connector may have been removed from another board. Look at this. I did not realize it until now. And we also have to note that this connector has those two tabs, so we may have to cut those off. I mean, those tabs are not going to go here. Look at this. We have two tabs on the sides, and there is no room for those tabs on the sides here. So we're going to have to cut those tabs off, and we're going to have to straighten the pins. I did not realize that this was not a new connector. It was pulled off from another device. We're going to have to get rid of those. And even this cutter you can buy off our site. I mean, is that the way the connector should be like? Because it's not even. I don't think we can even use this connector. The second pin is short. This one here. This pin is short. We can probably bend it and make it fit, but this connector is not meant for this video card. Yeah, I mean, this connector, this pin is solid. This pin is solid. Okay, maybe we can. Okay, so what about now? Let's see. Why don't we try to fit the connector from the top rather than do it from the bottom? That way we can see how those pins are going in. Now we can flip the board. And that connector is right over here. And I'm gonna have to hold that connector with my finger from the bottom while I solder at least 1-2 pins, and then I can let go. And we're gonna have to pre-apply solder onto our soldering iron tip. It's alright, it doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to secure 1 or 2 pins. Because right now I'm holding that connector with my finger. Look at this. Okay, so I'm gonna let go. And now we can solder those pins. Let's do a better than factory job. But of course, better than factory job requires better than factory flux. We did an awesome job. Wait until we clean up, and then you can see the final result. And we do not need that fume extractor anymore. Look at those better than factory joints. So this is leaded solder and this is unleaded solder. Just add alcohol to the brush and with the wipe. So we just go like that so we can brush off any leftover flux on the board. And beautiful, look at this. Look at the pins. And that's the connector right here. And now the customer can plug in the power cable from here, horizontally instead of vertically. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll do something else in the next video.